Today, our State of the City address will be delivered by Mayor Kris Wang. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Kris. True to the best traditions of Cupertino, Kris Wang is an immigrant. Kris has been in the United States for 30 years and a part of this community for 23 years. While many of us know her as a dedicated mother, a high-tech professional, and certainly as a city council member and mayor, many people have not considered that she is one of those people who shows up and is one of those people who always comes to count on. Kris is a regular participant in the Dr. Seuss reading program. She shows up to help us build playgrounds for the Kaboom projects. She works to help prepare the community for natural disasters and has proven herself as an active and effective member of our community. Please join us in welcoming for the second time, Mayor Kris Wang.
Thank you, Lynn. Good afternoon. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining me here today for the State of the City address. Thank you to Cupertino Rotary and Chamber of Commerce for not only graciously hosting this annual event, but for also dedicating so much time and passion to the improvement of Cupertino. We have many distinguished guests here with us today, and many others that would like to thank toward the closing of the address. However, before I get started, I would like to recognize the great men and women of Cupertino who proudly serve our nation. Thank you so much to all of you for your dedication and service and for representing the city. It is an honor to be here today to share with you Cupertino's recent successes, as well as provide a progress report on how our city is doing on all fronts, and finally share with you my goals for the city in the coming year. Some people tell me that a lot has changed since I last stood up here in 2007. In 2007, our economy was at peak. Today, we're slowly rebounding from recession. In 2007, Yahoo and MySpace were so popular. My kids tell me today that it's now all about Twitter and Facebook. True, we have gone through many changes together. Everyone seems to know a friend or family member who is recently unemployed, and everybody seems to have received holiday gifts that weren't as good as they used to be. However, I believe the changes we have gone through have only been on the surface, but the value that our city shares have stayed the same. These values are education, innovation, and community, and this value have continued to make Cupertino a great city. Education remains Cupertino's remains a strong intervals in our city. Superintendent Paul Bove will share more with you shortly. But I'm proud to announce that Cupertino's elementary, middle, high schools, and even two-year college are still remain among the best in the United States. We have some of the nation's finest instructors, as well as world-class resources at our fingertips. In particular, the Cupertino Library still has the highest library circulation in Santa Clara County, and was recently rated one of the top 10 libraries in the nation serving a population like our size. In addition, Cupertino City has continued to fund the school resource offices and crossing guards, as well as support the teacher housing program. Over the last year, the city has partnered with Cupertino Union School District to provide increased noontime activities on many of the school campuses. A new partnership with Fremont Union High School District will lead to the launch of a Parks and Recreation Summer School program. And the city has also created a leadership and learning partnership with De Anza College and an Institute for Community and Civic Engagement. It's without any doubt that Cupertino has continued to foster an incredible environment of intellectual curiosities and discovery. Besides education, Cupertino has continued to focus on innovation. Behind our successful schools are innovative educators. Behind our world-class businesses are entrepreneurs. As heart of Silicon Valley, Cupertino continues to lead the way in new technology and creative solutions to the world's problems. On April 30, 2009, Cupertino completed state-recognized and award-winning Mary Avenue footbridge. This bridge has been a tremendous success and has become a symbol of innovation. In addition, the city took steps this past year to encourage more solar installations by lower solar installation building permit fees. Also, Cupertino is working with the county to secure a power purchase agreement for solar installations on 3 city sites at no cost to the city. As I will speak more about later on, Cupertino is focused on being a leader in the green revolution. Recently, we adopted a new agreement with Recology, in which food waste and other recyclable materials from all residents and businesses will be diverted away from landfills, a major step towards reaching the city's ambitious goal, 75% diversion of waste by 2014. As part of this agreement, household hazardous waste will be collected from residential doorsteps once a year, and there will be 2 free Saturday morning drive-through drop-off recycling events at De Anza College for Cupertino residents to drop off recyclable construction debris, used clothing, and electronic waste. Finally, Cupertino has maintained its focus on the value of community. We have continued to invest in outdoor resources and activities, as well as programs that promote community interaction. Working with the Monte Vista Interact Club, Cupertino now has Helping Hands program for volunteers who wish to keep Cupertino's park clean. Volunteers can sign up online at www.helpinghandscupertino.org. In early December, Sterling Bernhardt Park broke ground and will soon provide 1.5 acres of park space for the neighborhood. Another major project over the last year includes the citywide earthquake drill. On July 4th, 2009, we celebrated the Blackberry Farm reopening, with Phase 2 completed and Phase 1 completed and Phase 2 expect to finish in mid-2011. Working in partnership with Cupertino Rotary and Kobun, the city and its volunteers built the Captain Stevens Playground at Blackberry Farm in just 1 day. In addition, the city has resurfaced the tennis court and upgraded lighting at the sports center to continue encouraging healthy recreation for residents. The city has also continued to foster communication with its residents in an effort towards transparencies to the public. The Cupertino City Channel has been recognized with NATOA award, and the Cupertino website has won numerous awards for keeping our community constantly informed and updated. We've also continued to expand our e-services. Now, through our e-services, Cupertino.org, residents can apply for permits, schedule building inspections, and renew business licenses. Our Neighborhood Watch program has grew from 155 groups last year to 183, now representing 23% of residential streets. Our electronic community alert program, ECAP, has nearly 1,700 subscribers who receive regular announcements about public safety. We also have our Block Leader program with over 330 some leaders now. So, While we endure many changes over these last few years, we have still been able to maintain the same values of education, innovation, and community. It is a testament to the strength of Cupertino under the leadership of our last year's mayor, Orrin Mahoney, as well as other mayors that passed, that we have made such significant progress together. Thank you, Orrin. Now, I'd like to turn my attention to the status of Cupertino, particularly on where the city stands today on education, safety, commerce, development, finances, health, and community satisfaction. I would like to invite my longtime friend and Fremont Union High School District Superintendent Polly Bovee up here to provide an update of our schools. Polly.
I want to thank Kris for featuring education today and including us in her State of the City address. It's really an honor. I'm also deeply honored to be representing my outstanding and dedicated colleagues, one of whom is here today, Brian Murphy from De Anza College, and Phil Kwan, who is doing good work at a state level and is not here today to join us, from Cupertino Union. You know, I think Kris is making a very good point here. We live and work in a very special place. I believe there's no other community that values and supports education more than this community. There could be no finer place to educate all the students that live within our boundaries. The results speak for themselves. You can see the amazing accomplishments of Cupertino Elementary. Scores that are off the charts, schools after schools, all eligible for high recognition. Fremont Union also is incredibly proud of our accomplishments, and all 5 of our schools have been distinguished schools. De Anza College also is continuing to do enormous work. Look at the degrees, look at the graduates. Really a model for community colleges all over the nation. And you might ask, how do we do this? Because we face some unprecedented challenges. So for Cupertino Union, you'll see it's going to be a theme here, and I'm sure it doesn't surprise you. The budget crisis in Sacramento, $8.8 million deficit for Cupertino Elementary alone. Fremont Union High School District is also facing, over the next few years, by between 7 and 10 million in deficit. And obviously we are trying to address half of that problem by passing a parcel tax on May 4th. You'll see the same thing when you take a look at the challenges faced by De Anza. They are trying to fund programs, and I heard Brian when he was coming in today saying that they are talking about layoffs. These are incredibly difficult conversations. Again, to refer to what Kris said, we have some of the finest educators in the world in this city, and to think about losing them is very, very sad. So I would say again, how do we accomplish all of this and manage the difficult challenges that we face? Well, first of all, we have remarkable students. We have supportive parents. We have community members and unique and innovative partnerships, some of which you've heard about today. And we continue to have the generosity and support of service organizations, businesses, foundations, and others who help us face these budget challenges. And finally, I think the way we really accomplish all these feats is with a little magic. And I'd say it's magic unique to the city of Cupertino and our area. It's magic that you all bring to the table. It's magic you help us create to educate the remarkable students in this community. So I want to thank you for helping us find ways to continue our great programs and our great schools. And I want to thank Kris for being able to have the opportunity to say that to all of you.
Thank you. Thank you, Polly. That was a great report. Well, like education, public safety has been top priority for the city too. So I would like to invite Fire Deputy Chief Dirk Mathon come back again on stage and let us know from the fire standpoint.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, Dirk Mattern, Santa Clara County Fire Department. Unfortunately, Chief Wallvogel wasn't able to join us today. He had a prior commitment, and he apologized for that. However, he did provide me with a few things to mention, highlight, that we're working on this coming year. One of the things we're very proud of at County Fire is our accreditation with the Commission of Fire Accreditation International, which first occurred in 2005. County Fire is only one of 133 fire departments worldwide that are accredited. Being accredited means that the agency has been evaluated and it meets not only the standards of the Commission, but the agency does, in fact, do the things that it says it does. Accreditation is good for 5 years, and we must be reaccredited after that 5-year period. Now that it's 2010, that's something that we're going to be working on. As part of the reaccreditation process, we had to update our business plan, our standards of cover, and our strategic plan. Our strategic plan outlines the goals and objectives of the department for service delivery for the next 5 years. To develop and update those goals and objectives, last year, the department used input from groups of external stakeholders, including many of the community members, business owners, and city staff in Cupertino. We wanted to know what expectations the community had for the fire department. We heard those loud and clear, and we incorporated them into the strategic plan. We hope to have that reaccreditation completed by this summer. We're also very excited about our plan this year to equip all of our response apparatus with mobile data tablet computers. They use GPS-based maps, which will help us get to calls by the quickest route. Fire hydrant locations and other critical fire protection features are also shown on those maps for our responding crews. And the system will also allow our fire crews to access critical building information during a fire or other emergency, such as hazardous material storage locations, critical things about the building itself. However, there are some challenges that we'll be facing in the next few years. One, of course, is the budget, which is probably no surprise. In this economy, with declining property values, result in corresponding reduction in revenue to the fire district. So we'll be watching that very closely and planning accordingly. But probably our biggest challenge we're facing is the loss of a number of management and supervisory staff to retirements in the next few years. Along with them, a lot of institutional memory will be lost. And in anticipation of that, we're looking at succession planning and mentoring programs to develop our future leadership and maintain our high level of service to the city now and far into the future. Thank you.
I really want you to hear the first-hand information. Now, I'd like to invite another long-term friend, very good best friend of mine, as I can say, the Sheriff Laura Smith, to provide an update on the safety in Cupertino. Laura.
Well, thank you, Madam Mayor. We have worked together for a long time, and I appreciate the introduction. First of all, to everyone in Cupertino, we're very, very proud to be able to provide police services to you. And we also appreciate the fact that these law enforcement services that we provide were consistently ranked very high in customer satisfaction by you, the residents of Cupertino. And we looked at the numbers for the last year, and I'm very happy to report that our response times to the most serious crimes, to the Part 1 crimes, are more than a minute faster than our desired performance measures. So we're very, very proud of that, and the deputies that do the job. You met Deputy Fleckner just now, and I really appreciate the time that this organization, not only Cupertino Rotary, but also Cupertino Chamber of Commerce, takes the time to recognize our fine men and women that do the job every day. So I'd like to give you some comparisons, if I may. As you're aware, there are 15 cities in Santa Clara County. And if you look at only the cities that have a population of over 50,000, and there are and 8 of those cities have a population over 50,000. You have the lowest crime rate of any of those cities. And what's also important is you have the lowest violent crime rate of all of those 8 cities. And 5 of the 8 cities have a violent crime rate double what your rate is. We live in a great community here. You're very fortunate to be in the city of Cupertino. So not only do you receive excellent service, but your services are also very cost effective. We did a comparison of cities in Santa Clara County, and we only looked at the cities that provide full-time law enforcement services, and we excluded the cities that the sheriff's office provides services for because we're cost effective to all of them. But of all the cities in in Santa Clara County, you have the lowest percentage of the city budget that goes to law enforcement services. You also have the lowest per resident cost in Cupertino for law enforcement services. And in fact, one city in Santa Clara County, the cost per resident is triple what you pay here in Cupertino. We're very proud of our relationship and the services we provide to Cupertino. From your city manager, Dave Knapp, and to all city staff, they're excellent. And for the next year, I'm looking forward to the continued strong leadership we've seen from Mayor Wang, and that we've seen for many years, and the relationship that we have with you. Mayor Wang, Vice Mayor Wang, and members of the council, we're committed to providing increasingly excellent service for the year coming up, and in helping make this a great community where we can all live safely. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Laura. You know this is being recorded. Your promise and a commitment. So next, I would like to talk about commerce and employment. Along with many other cities, Cupertino commerce has experienced its hardships, but on the whole, we have fared much better than most, with 27 new retail businesses already opened in fiscal 2009-2010, including Amici, Stables, and Aki opening soon. We're well on track to beat the 95 new business opened in the fiscal year 2008 and 2009. In Cupertino, office and R&D vacancy rates remained relatively low. Office vacancies is at 13.3%, and R&D vacancy is at 4 and 5%. The only city in Santa Clara County to be in the single digit. As for unemployment, California recently reported a 12.4% unemployment rate, and Silicon Valley reported a 11.8% unemployment. Cupertino, on the other hand, has an unemployment rate of 7.3%. Yeah. For housing development and planning, Cupertino saw 33 new housing units built in 2009, 28 of which were apartments, and 5 were single-family homes. The draft housing element document was completed in June 2009. It is a state-required general plan element and is necessary to do an update every 5 to 7 years. City Council is expected to make a final approval in spring this year after receiving approval from the state. While planning activities is down 20%, compared to last fiscal year, the planning department is capitalizing on opportunity to implement process improvements and customer service initiative. On Cupertino's finances, the city did a fantastic job for our general fund 2009, collecting near $42 million in revenue, while expenses and capital projects combined were kept below $40 million. For our general fund 2010, we expect to be essentially break-even between revenue and operating expenses. We expect a $1.6 million investment toward new capital projects, such as Phase 2 of Stevens Creek Corridor Park, additional improvement at Blackberry Farm and McClellan Ranch, as well as street surfacing. Usually, street maintenance is funded by gasoline taxes from the state, but this year, those funds are being delayed due to the state deficit. And our general fund will have to finance it in the meantime. And other impacts of the state deficit, including state borrowed $1.4 million from cities like ours, that will be paid back in 3 years. Also, we have experienced some impacts due to the county deficit. The Valley Transportation Authority has unfortunately made cuts, including outreach for seniors and 8% of bus scheduling, all to alleviate their expenses. And I'm extremely proud that Cupertino has been able to maintain a balanced budget through difficult times without having to make a sacrifice such as layoffs and service reductions. Our city has remained financially solvent and in good condition to operate leaning in the coming year as the economy rebounds. With surplus, we have funds to maintain vital city services for any rainy days ahead. On health and well-being in the city, our Cupertino Senior Center membership for programs and services grew to 2,284 members. That's 2% growth in 2009. And volunteer service hours for senior center programs and services grew by amazing 7%. Despite the economy downturn and state budget deficit, we continue to receive the full $20,000 grant funding for the senior adult case management from the Council on Aging. Finally, in regards to community satisfaction, Cupertino recorded excellent results from the UUT Gabi survey in May 2009. Approximately 70% of the city residents surveyed were very satisfied, while 24% were somewhat satisfied with their overall quality of life in Cupertino. Those were the official results, but I also consider my sons to be the unofficial barometer of Cupertino life. They have lived in New York, San Francisco, and Los Angeles, and have traveled around the world, but still, they come back home to Cupertino as often as they can. Finally, I would like to talk about what to expect in the coming year in our area of focus. Back to the topic of education. We'll look to endure state budget cuts by supporting vital programs at our schools. The city will fund and support 10 school crossing guards, after-school enrichment programs at 20 school sites, 2 school resource officers, maintenance for the school sports field, emergency preparedness training and services at Cupertino and Fremont Union High School District, and a natural program for all third graders. I strongly believe that an investment in education is an investment in our future, and we cannot allow our students to be disadvantaged due to the unfortunate budget cuts. In regards to commerce, I will look to enhance and promote economic vitality in the city. As you know, city services that benefit the community are directly tied to the strengths of our local businesses. We certainly appreciate the large corporate businesses in our city, such as Apple and HP, and we have made a progress in this area with the approval of an increase in the general plan office allocation by almost 500,000 square feet in anticipation of a future expansion of our city's major technology companies. The increase in office allocation also supports Cupertino mid-sized companies, some of whom are like Silicon Valley's future stars, like company like RSI. I don't know how many of you heard that. Well, there was the Silicon Valley's only IPO in 2008. And these companies will need room to expand, and we want to assure them they can grow right here. And we must also foster a positive and supportive environment for new businesses to come into Cupertino. in the coming year, I will look forward to work with our Chamber of Commerce to find creative way to bolster membership, as well as provide additional support services for our local businesses. Now, in regards to safety, I want to refocus our attention this year on school traffic calming measures in the Tri-School area, as well as near Garden Gate. It is a matter of safety for our children and nearby residents. Current solutions do not seem to be easing traffic flow. And so everything is on the table now as to what we can do to ease congestion and increase safety. Also, in regards to safety, Lehigh Cement has been a recent topic of discussion. Residents have brought up their concerns of air quality. And while the business is not in our jurisdiction, we do take seriously any concerns of safety affecting our community. Early this month, a study session was held to educate the council and other interest parties. We will continue to monitor the situation and take appropriate action pending any additional findings. For the coming year, you can also expect improvement in our community development projects. We're in process of reinventing Blackberry Farms and Stevens Creek Corridor to become an amazing resource for our residents to enjoy and stay active. I already mentioned that Homestead Park and Sterling Barnhart Park, but Quinlan Plaza is also getting work done. It is expected to be completed by this summer, where the old fountain structure here will be removed and replaced with an outdoor plaza that can support community events. I spoke earlier of our commitment to leading the green revolution, and I want to explain what I meant. The first question is, what does it mean to go green? To me, I think of it in terms of a balance, the balance between meeting the needs of today without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Thus, the goal of going green is for the community to live sustainably. The second question is, why should we go green? Well, obvious, because Al Gore said so. Well, joking aside, the important point here is that I believe it is our moral obligation. We have all grown up in a world where we have advanced so rapidly, drilling oil to fuel our cars and using silicone to run our computers. I have enjoyed it and want my kids and future residents of Cupertino to continue enjoying it. Simple as that. Another reason that many people don't know is that going green often means saving green. Or in other terms, we spend less on resources, we can spend more elsewhere. For example, Public Works facilitated a detailed energy audit conducted for Cupertino by Siemens Corp, which identified areas including streetlights, irrigation equipment, interior light, and network power management as areas of a priority for future investment. Implementing these measures will reduce 700,000 pounds of carbon dioxide and $400,000 in energy and water consumption each year. In addition, Public Works continue to institute energy and water conservation activities. In doing so, the city achieved monetary savings and efficiency of operation that allowed us to focus our resources elsewhere and conserve our resources such as water for a rainy day, or I should say a drought day. The city will also continue to work with the Sustainability Task Force and Terra to educate and inform the public. And Terra's Green at Home, as you see on the screen, helps communities take action by making their homes more energy efficient. House calls are free, sponsored by the City of Cupertino, and available to all residents whether you rent or own. In addition, Cupertino will work with county and state government agencies to comply with Green Building Code adopted by the state of California, assure construction compliance with new EPA clean air requirements, and implement municipal regional permit requirements for more stringent stormwater pollution rules. Finally, in the coming year, Cupertino will focus on demographics with the 2010 census. It is a major initiative in which Cupertino citizens and non-citizens must be counted. The importance here is that the data is used by the federal government to allocate $300 billion in funds to state and communities, and local governments and businesses use the data to help decide where to locate new facilities such as schools, roads, supermarkets, and even daycare facilities. As a council member, now in my 7th year, and a second time as a mayor, I'm constantly reminded in everything we do that the people and the neighborhoods are at the core of Cupertino. It is our residents, families, neighbors, and friends that make up this community, that drive this community. It is so wonderful to be a part of a community where the people take so much pride in the city, where citizens not only take interest in how the city is shaped, but also take action and get involved. This defines the greatness of our city. I would like to say thank you to thousands of volunteers who care and work tirelessly to make Cupertino progress possible. Rotary, Chamber of Commerce, and its volunteers, our commission and committee members, block leaders, Friends of the Library, Quota, Senior Center volunteers, Cupertino Historical Society folks, Cupertino Community Service volunteers, school volunteers, Cupertino Lions, Optimist Club, and hundreds of others who dedicated their time and effort toward making Cupertino a better place to live. As you know, we have an incredible city staff and with just 163 employees, actually 162.75. They're highly capable and efficient, and they are the engine behind the scenes. It's my great honor to introduce to you City Manager Dave Knapp and our Executive Assistant Linda Logogun, our Police Chief Terry Calderon, it's over there, the Administration Service Director Carol Atwood, Parks and Recreation Director Mark Lander, Public Works Director Rob Crows, our City Clerk Kim Smith, our Public Communication Manager Rick Kisson, and his whole team, P, Ray, Robert, and Nini. They help putting all together this. And this exceptional team, they won the national award I mentioned earlier, NATAO 2008. But they continue. I mean, they're challenging themselves to deliver top quality programming for the city. We also have several new employees today at the city, and I would like to introduce to you. I will start with our returned employee, Community Development Director now, R.D. Shrivastava, there. R.D. came back in 2009, and that same year we also hired another 2 new employees. One is City Attorney Carol Correa, as Chuck Healing retired in the end of 2008, and Aaron Cook, Environmental Affairs Coordinator, has also come on board. The newest member is the Executive Assistant to the Attorney, Therese Zuger. Down there. Welcome, you all. I would also like to take this opportunity to introduce newly appointed Cupertino Community Librarian, Rosanna Masick. She's also here. In addition to the city top-notch employees, I would also like to thank each of my council colleagues, Vice Mayor Gilbert Wang, Council Member R. Mahoney, Mark Santoro, and Barry Chan. Together, we look forward to accomplishing many great things for the city we love. Let me remind you, there are many ways to get a hold of a city staff and city council, as I have just introduced. And if e-services are not handy for you, all you need to do is pick up the phone and dial 777-CITY.
City of Cupertino, how can I help you?
Is that familiar? As our receptionist, Tiffany. She has received so many compliments when people call, so I thought to bring it up. So now I'd like to conclude today's State of City by saying that has hopefully been evident throughout the entirety of my speech. Like many, the residents of Cupertino has endured hardship over the years, but we have remained resilient together in our core value. Education, safety, and community are top-notch. We're financially solvent and have planned to bolster commerce. Your local government, as always, is dedicated toward improving citywide services and implementing new projects and programs for residents to interact and be proud of their community. With a wonderful staff and engaged community volunteers, the future of Cupertino will continue to be bright. My fellow residents, the state of the city is strong. Thank you for coming.